Did you know that jazz is the only music genre with its own United Nations Day? April 30th, that's today, is International Jazz Day, a global salute to freedom, resilience and improvisation. It all began in New Orleans, where African rhythms, blues, ragtime and European traditions collided, while the word jazz itself started as baseball slang. From Louis Armstrong, who turned improvisation into an art, to Duke Ellington, who made jazz a universal language, from Ella Fitzgerald, the first Grammy winner for jazz with her dazzling scatting, to Charlie Parker, who practiced 12 hours a day, and Dave Brubeck's Take 5, that danced in sideways rhythm. Jazz has always been unpredictable, emotional and alive. Welcome to this week's Kaleidoscope with me, Savithri Rodrigo. From the Kaleidoscope studios, Professor Freedom Goldenbot, Patrick Morin, and our snappy news headlines in News in a Blink. That universal symbol that binds across cultures and traditions, the Tree of Life, has been brought to life at the Lofted Barefoot Gallery by Patrick Morin. It is found in Mesopotamian art, it is also found in Celtic traditions, and also in the Bible, in the Garden of Eden.
Tree of Life is it's a way of reconnecting with our old tradition and our roots. I think in this world where everything is expanding towards the outside, we also need to go back inside. For this exhibition, I'm trying to be quite exhaustive, so going from the seed of the Tree of Life to the different aspect of protections it gets either from the dogs or from the birds. To be a bit playful as well, like the dogs protect but also carry the trees of life, and sometimes it gets mischievous and feel like stealing it. So we can see it here, or the bird stealing the tree of life as well. Basically, the tree of life represents the connection between the sky and the earth, what is seen and what is not seen. But the birds and the dogs represent exactly the same as well. So it's a very, for me, I combine them very often in the painting.
From YouTube to Facebook to LinkedIn and Instagram, Kaleidoscope delivers stories that matter. Stay connected, subscribe and follow to experience more. Kaleidoscope is powered by SriLanka Life, CDB and The Daily Morning. Great partners to have with us.
Cool appetizer. CDB Self. Introducing CDB Self, the digital wallet that makes life easy. CDB Self.
And now, this week's headlines, snappy and concise on CDB News in a Blink. Sri Lanka's per capita income in 2025 is at a record $5,003, increasing from $4,546 in 2024. The Freedom in the World 2026 report notes Sri Lanka as one of the few nations to improve political rights and civil liberties. Sri Lankan police officers donate over 9 million rupees, a day's salary, to the Rebuilding Sri Lanka Fund. And here's how our markets have been this week. The all-share price index at the Colombo Stock Exchange stayed flat as turnover fell, with most investors on the sidelines awaiting the impact of frauds on bank bottom lines. Oil markets, volatile over the past 2 months, settled below $100 per barrel after the UAE quit OPEC to counter supply disruptions from the stalemated Iran war. Despite continued central bank buying, gold prices slipped below $4,600 per ounce amid uncertainty over the Iran war's fallout on the US economy. Global military spending hits a record high, reaching nearly $2.9 trillion in 2025. Michael Jackson's biopic breaks records for the highest global opening for a music biopic, earning between 217 to 219 million US dollars.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. SriLanka Life.
Over 40% of Sri Lanka's rainforests have disappeared, and the country has lost nearly 30% of its endemic species in recent decades. On Kaleidoscope Dialogues, we put the tough questions to Professor Friedhelm Goltenbott, tropical ecologist and rainforestation farming expert who has 25 plus years of experience across Asia and a lot here in Sri Lanka as well. You've been working in Sri Lanka for years. What is the single most damaging thing we are doing to our forests right now?
Now, I've been in the country now up and down more than 20 years, and over the time I saw positive and as well very negative developments. And the most negative kind of thing I am seeing is that around the protected areas, the buffer zones are not well managed. There is the crucial clue to protect actually what you would like to protect. And if this sort of management is not going into the right direction, then on the long end you are losing as well what you would like to protect. And therefore, buffer zone management is a clue and a key to nature protection.
So, when logging is termed development, who actually is developing?
This is a tricky thing because logging is the one thing and regaining the profit out of logging, as far as it's necessary, is the other thing. Any development, any agriculture started with the removal of forest in the past. But if you are not investing what you get out as a credit from nature in a local, let's say, development, then you are losing.
How fast does rainforestation farming put money in a farmer's hand?
There is a formula which has been developed even by a lot of organizations, including even the former king of Thailand once said, for a farm you need a 3 to 3 to 3 to 1 system. That means your given area should provide for carbohydrate 30%, for protein 30%, for fibers, vitamins, whatsoever 30%, and 10% for the house and stable and whatever kind of houses you need. And if this sort of 30, 30, 30, 10 is coming together and nicely arranged, you are absolutely secured. But if you are losing this, you are dependent on the outside world, and then you don't get any penny in your pocket, or only a very, very little. Inside of the rainforest and farming, from the very beginning, they have an income. Because you are fading out of a monoculture, maybe economy, and moving into a highly diverse, which have a short-term, a mid-term, and a long-term economical aspect. So short-term is just vegetables whatsoever, yeah? And the long-term are the timber trees.
What are the 3 priorities Sri Lanka needs to put in place to make sure this rainforestation farming will work, will take off?
Sri Lanka on its own has already an historical kind of knowledge how to run agriculture in the given surrounding. For me, for example, the so-called tank system is an excellent example from the past how you can avoid being more and more vulnerable in your own area. And this is one of those things you see, for example, which we are as well promoting wherever we are able to do, to say, look, don't look to things coming always from outside. If you have not proved whether you have already everything in hand, combining, let's say, modern technology in form of new ideas, new species of plants, new kind of approaches with historical, already well established systems would be a marvelous combination to improve whatever is necessary.
So enjoy the weekend with some jazz this Sunday at Jazz Unlimited. We'll be back next week.